was born and bred in a small town in the Eastern Cape called Stexford.
Shut up.
Basically, I never started off as a photographer. I'm a qualified political scientist. I worked in the space of academia for 7 years, and I decided to leave my work because I felt trapped. As much as I was doing very important work, advocacy work, doing a lot of work around social justice, but I felt writing for me was not enough. I needed to do more. I wanted to interact with people. And what's funny is when I was busy looking for a place to go and study, because I started doing photography when I was about 13 years old, and I decided that I was going to go to Cape Town. And the school that I found was very expensive. It was about 90,000. And then I just happened to come across Zana's work. And I checked and I saw that she went to the Market Photo Workshop. The next day I got on a taxi, went to Joburg, looking for this space called the Market Photo Workshop, and that's where my journey began. So basically what I do is that I believe that photography is a very important tool or vehicle towards social change or social justice. And I think using images which do not really discriminate in terms of requiring anyone to have any form of education, formal education. An image is there, it speaks on its own. Obviously, would argue say that it needs to be supported by text, but ordinary South African or African stories that are documented to show who we are, that's what I believe in. I believe that as a South African photographer, it's important that our stories as Black South Africans should be owned by us, not by anybody else. And that's why I do photography. And that's why I specialize particularly in documentary photography because of my own background in terms of politics and so forth. Yeah, so that's why. When FSAS fall happened at UFS, I was busy doing my M. And I was a student. So when I realized that, nothing is happening because, we're not vets, where, when they sneeze, everybody jumps. We're not documented. And I felt that because I don't only see myself as a photographer or as a photojournalist, but I'm also a visual activist. And I felt that as a visual activist who firmly believes in social justice, it is important that I document the struggle. And at the time, I think the first FSAS protest was genuine. 2015, 2016. It was very difficult for me because all of a sudden I became the enemy because I used to work for the system for many years. And now I'm coming with a different approach, and I'm coming as a photographer who is actually documenting all these different narratives that are coming out of the FSAS fall, whether it's the Unsilence UFS, whether it's the Embrace a Sister, or whether it's the feminist struggle, or it's the outsourcing. All of these, they created problems. And at the time I was a freelancer, and the university blocked me. I didn't get work from the University of Free State because all of a sudden now I'm seen as this devil advocate because I'm documenting a struggle. And it's what is happening in front of me. And I think even now it's so difficult because, Zanele was asking me now earlier, why am I not showing my work? And that particular work, because it's such a big, body of work, it's an issue of, to me, it is my work, yes, but it doesn't belong to me. So, I'm still caught up on that how do I do it? How do I go about it? Not so long ago, I had a big issue with CEO. Yeah. And I was so frustrated. I called Zanele and I'm like, okay, I don't know how to do this because I know it's my work, but where do we draw the line? And I know all my rights and what is it that needs to happen. But now it becomes a big issue when somebody comes and says, but it's my body, So it becomes, it's tricky, but also I think for me the whole journey was, it was painful, because not only we were, you know, faced with all sorts of discriminations, but also physically. I mean, there's an image here I showed of a police officer and a lady who is, you know, trying to protect the face. That police officer assaulted me. I took 2 shots, 2 frames, and within no space, I found myself flying on the fence. You know, so you get affected in many forms. But I think at the same time, it was a beautiful journey, you know, because I got to interrogate myself as a person, as a former student at the University of the Free State. So I think it's still an ongoing journey for me. You know, I'm a very, very shy person. But when I am behind the camera, I live. I find joy, I find peace. And I think for me, that is one of the most important pieces of my life that make me look forward on living for the next day. And I think, being able to see the next day, you know, and being able to take the next picture, I think for me that is where I get my joy.